Hi colleagues, I am preparing this video just to assist you in filling your BOA template. So please just follow the instructions on screen, and you can always pause the video and you can watch this video as many times as possible. So let's get started. And the first thing you need to do is make sure you have opened your BOA template that all of you should have received by now by your head of colleges. And the first thing that you need to do with your BOA template is to first save that template and make sure you give it the course code as the file name. So let's get started with that. Right, the first thing you need to do is save the file. You can always go to File, Save As, and just give it the name as your course code. So for whichever course you are preparing the results for, you can just name it as that particular course. So I'm going to rename this as my ISP 21 course code. Alright, so I'll just leave it as ISP21, and you can save it on the desktop. You can see it's already on the desktop. So click on save. It's already saved now. You can see the name over here. Now the first thing you need to do is download the class list from your salts. Alright, and then put it here. So let's go and import our class list from salts. So I need ISP21. And make sure it's an Excel report, so check this radio button and then click on submit, so you get an Excel file. Right, all you need to do is map the columns that appears in your BOA template. So if you look at the columns, you have ID number, last name, first name, campus, mode, gender, sponsor, program, and exam site. So you need to go and remove the other columns from the class list first, so that it maps exactly with what is provided in your BOA template. So we do not need this course code. We need the campus. After the campus you have the mode, but you do not need this nation. You do not need this IR end, and you can remove that column as well. Sponsor, you need it. Degree is what we call program in our BOA template, so you can leave the degree part there. Alright, and you can remove these three columns: exam site code, major 1 and major 2. So delete these three columns. Now I think this matches perfectly with whatever is provided in your BOA template. So all you need to do is just highlight from the first student ID number all the way down to where your data is. So just press Ctrl C on your keyboard. Alright, and then go back to your BOA template and click on the first cell here. It is B7. Remember, this is the first cell, so just press Ctrl V together on your keyboard to paste the contents. Now you can see that it's overlapping the columns. All you have to do is highlight all the columns together like this, and then just double click over here so that the columns are automatically adjusted for width. Alright, and now you can see the grid lines are missing, so just highlight the data range and just click on this tool here on the ribbon and just choose all borders so that you get all the grid back. Alright, that's all you have to do. And you can just reduce the size of this because you can see there's only one sponsor, so you can just hide this slightly or make it narrower so that you can see the other columns properly. You can just adjust the columns so that you can see the entire coursework quite clearly. Or if you want, since you won't be needing it immediately regarding all those things, so you can just hide all of them. So just right click on that and hide it, but for now I'll just leave it as it is. Right, the next thing you need to do is you have to make sure that you remove the extras that are here. So you can delete all this data. Do not delete the rows, please, just delete the data that is there. So you can scroll all the way down to 1700. If you have more, then you can just insert. Remember, if you have more than 1700 records, then what you need to do is do not just copy and paste. You need to highlight this blank like that and right click and insert the rows, but before deleting it, make sure the formulas are already there. Alright, so in this case I do not need that extra. Why I had to remove that? So that my summary table is up to date. It says 90 records, so total is 90, so that's accurate now. Alright, so let me go back to my grades worksheet, and now I've got the names of the students. Now I want to import the marks here. So in the mark sheet worksheet, I need to go and get it says a detailed mark sheet to be extracted from Moodle and pasted here. It does not necessarily have to be Moodle. Some of you are not keeping your marks on Moodle, you are keeping it in a separate Excel file, so you can just copy and paste it here as well. So let's do that. I'll go to my ISP21 and mark sheet. Click on my mark sheet. Again, you have to export from here. Click on export and just choose the ones that you want. Some of you probably have other activities on Moodle that are not part of the actual course assessment, so you need to uncheck those boxes so that everything does not get exported. Only the actual part of the coursework gets exported. So all these are part of my coursework, and I'll just download that. And you do not have to save this file. Just click on open and then just highlight the entire data. All you have to do is press Ctrl A on your keyboard so the entire data gets highlighted exactly. Then press Ctrl C on your keyboard. Then the entire data will be copied to the clipboard, and then go back to your BOA template, and then on the marksheet worksheet, click on cell A2 and just press Ctrl V. So the entire marksheet is now exported from Moodle into your BOA template. All you need to do is remove this column here, the campus column. You do not need this column, just remove it. And you probably also do not need the sponsor column, but no harm in keeping it. Okay, I'll leave it at that for now. Let us go back to our grades worksheet now, and the first thing you need to do is, before I proceed further, you need to ensure that your column labels map exactly with your course assessment task. So in this case, the formula is adding this column, this one, and that's it. So it is adding K7, M7, N7 and O7 into this coursework. So if you can see here in the formula bar, it says K, M, N, O. So if you are having 5 course assessment tasks, like in my case I have got 6 assessment tasks, right? So what I'll do is I'll remove this one. Can you see this one contains my, at the moment the BOA template has it, I mean I've designed it in such a way that you have to enter your row marks for your MST, and then it will convert it to the correct percentage. So if you want to show the row marks as well over here, it's entirely up to you. If you do not want to show the row marks here, then you can remove it. So what I'll do is I'll just delete this formula from my mark sheet. I'll just keep the percentage and just change the label here to 10%. So that maps to 10%, so that I'll import the mark, and instead of saying MST here, I have got another assessment. I've got quiz here, assignment 1, assignment 2 is fine. The other assessment I have got there is known as lessons. So I'll keep lessons there, and lessons is known as 10%, so I'll just put 10% there. And my assignment 1 for this course is 10%, so I'll just change the label. It's not rocket science here, it's just changing the label. Just click on it and just type the percentage, and if you want you can rename this. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can use this column as well for my, instead of attendance, I can use this for my another assessment. Now in this case I have another assessment known as workshop, so I'll just put their workshops less 10%. Now what happens here is, at the moment I'm just adding this cell, I'm not adding P, so I can go and update my formula to add that. Now you do not have to worry about all these complicated functions. All you have to do is click on this cell here. What this means is, if all my course assessment components are blank, that means the student have not submitted any of these course components, so automatically my coursework total should be dash, because this is what SAS wants. Alright, so you have to put a dash there. So instead of typing the dash, you want your formula to put the dash there automatically. So in this case, at the moment there's only 4 cells that are considered. I need 6 cells to be considered, so the ones that I have to incorporate is K, L is there, M is not there, so just beside that comma I put M7 equals null. Null means blank. That means this, just put double quotes here. That means if there's nothing in M7, and if there's nothing in N7, O7, and now I can see I'm also using P. So right at the end, put a comma first, and then write there P7 equals blank, like that. Just put double quotes, a pair of the double quotes, it indicates blank. So what this function basically means is, if all these cells are blank, you put a dash. Otherwise, you go and add the contents of all the cells and round it off to 1 decimal place. So coursework should be rounded off to 1 decimal place. Now the cells that are missing in this formula is simply K, L is missing, so you have L7 plus, and then M and O, and then you want to add P, so just put plus P7 and then press enter. And then once you have updated the first formula, you can just copy and paste this one up to where data is. So now your formula is updated. So as soon as I start entering the marks here, automatically my totals will show. And for those students who do not submit anything, this should be left blank. Alright, this should remain blank. You do not have to import or put any marks there. You cannot award somebody 0 unless that person has earned the 0. Alright, I hope I'm clear on that and everybody else is clear on that. You should know that by now, that you can only award somebody 0 or type 0 here in these cells if that person has actually earned that 0. Otherwise you leave it blank so that the dash will appear here. And if one assessment component is done, like for example here 10, so automatically the person has earned a coursework of 10. So it's very simple, very straightforward. Now let's go and import the marks from the mark sheet so that these totals here are automatically updated. And my coursework here, the label should change to 60 instead of 50. So I'll say coursework out of 60%. And my final exam is of course marked out of 100, but this one will be 40%. My final exam 40%. So I just change the label, and my minimum should be not 20 now, it should be 16. That means the student must score 16. So this will be out of 40. That means that is the minimum, just for the board of assessment information, so that the head of college knows exactly what the minimum mark was and what the student should have got, so that you don't award pass grade here if the student did not meet 40 as the minimum mark in the final. That's USP's regulation, and I'm sure all of you are aware of that. So let's proceed in importing the marks. The first thing you need to do is, I want to pull the assignment 1 mark, so I go back to my mark sheet and I look at my assignment 1. So this is the column that consists my assignment 1 mark. Make sure you check the label that is correct mark that you are pulling. So let's check this one. And when you are using the VLOOKUP function, you have to check the correct labels of the columns. Alright, so you have to count the labels from the left hand side. So that's why I put on the left hand side, that means first column is my ID number, because that's the one I need to map using the VLOOKUP function. So I go back to my grade worksheet. I type here equal sign, always start with the equal sign, and type VLOOKUP, press tab, and then type the lookup value. The lookup value is in this cell, which is B7, so that is the ID number. Enter the comma there, and then now click on the mark sheet worksheet. Automatically on the formula bar you can see that mark sheet appears there as the worksheet name, and then highlight the range, that is the entire data range, and then after that click here and then put a comma, and then it says automatically you have to choose the column index. Column index basically means which column you want to pull the value from. So I want to pull the value from, as I said, start counting from the left. So this is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, column 6. Column 6 has got my assignment 1 mark, so I put 6 there, comma, false. False means exact match, because my ID has to match perfectly, so it means exact match. I highlight this data range only, and I want to make it absolute, so just press F4 on the keyboard. I repeat, press F4 on the keyboard. Why you need to press F4 after highlighting this? So that when you're copying and pasting the formula, it does not change the cell reference, it remains fixed. Okay, so you do not need to worry about all the details. Just know that you have to press F4 so that the dollar sign appears beside the cell references. Alright, and then press enter. So you'll see that 0 has been pulled up. That means this particular student did not submit anything, because all my students who submitted the assignments in this course actually got some marks. So I know straight away that this particular cell should be blank, not 0. So I just drag and drop this using the fill handle. That means just copy and paste like that, and all the marks will be automatically pulled from the mark sheet. Right, so the ones that have got 0, straight away you can use the filter here. Click on select all, uncheck the box, just filter the zeros and highlight the zeros only. I said do not put the marks for zeros. Highlight all the zeros and just delete, just keep it blank. Alright, and then clear the filter. Now do the same for your lessons. Right, do the same for your lessons. Now I've got this formula basic, so what I'll do is copy this and just post it here. It says not applicable, or you do not have to retype the VLOOKUP function now, just copy and paste, but just change the references here. Just put B, and then this one should be, now I need my lesson total, so I need to be sure which column contains the lesson. So I just put 20 for now and just see what mark has been pulled, just to be sure. So it is pulling somewhere from here, but let me count again the columns. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay, 28. So that category total for my lessons is 28. So I'll put 28 here instead of 20. I just took a wild guess, so 28. So that's the accurate mark that has been pulled, but you can see it is pulling it to 2 decimal places, but you do not have to worry about that because it is already rounding off over here to 1 decimal place, so you really do not have to worry about it. However, if you want to show your marks here to 1 decimal place, you can just easily use a round up function, just enclose the entire VLOOKUP function within the round up function. So just type here round, open bracket, reach to the end, put a comma and put 1 there and close the bracket. That's all you have to do, and press enter, so it automatically rounds it off to 1 decimal place. Now you can copy and paste this here as well, and then copy and paste it all the way down. Right, so all the lesson total has been pulled. Now again I filter the zeros because none of the students should have got 0. That means if they have got 0, that means they did not attempt it in my case. In your case, you have to be vigilant if the student has earned the 0, so you have to go and make sure you have to enter 0 there. Right, the MST mark, again I have to pull it, so I have to check the column reference first where the MST mark is kept. So it is very easy, it's here 1 2 3 4 5, so column 5 should retain the MST mark. So again I just copy this and paste it here and just change the reference. This one should be looking at the ID number, so that's B, and this one should be 5. That will return my MST mark. So there you go, MST mark has been returned, and just copy and paste, and again filter the zeros, delete. I'm going very slowly, in fact I know I might sound fast, but I'm actually very slow. Right, the next thing you need to do is again copy and paste, but you need to make sure that the assignment 2 column, that is column 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, I have to be very sure about this because I want to pull the correct marks, please, so you have to be very thorough about that. So 7, so copy and paste here, make sure the column reference changes to this one. Of course you have to look up for the ID number, and this one will look at 7, so it will pull the mark from 7. Again, this person did not submit assignment 2 as well, as you can see. Right, again highlight all the zeros, just press the delete key on the keyboard in case you are figuring out how I'm deleting. Right, and just clear the filter again, copy this function again and paste it here. But before I do that, I need to see where my quiz totals are kept. So let's look at the quiz total. This was column 7 as my reference. 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17. So that's 17. It says here quiz total, so I want to pull the total only. So 17 is the reference. Control C, Control V. So it says not applicable because it is checking the wrong cell, so it should be B, and then this one should be 17. So there you go. Let me just check whether it was correct or not. 17. So that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17. So that's correct, 17. And now I do the same for my workshop mark, and you can do all of them at the beginning and then just copy and paste right at the end. So I can just copy and paste here, and my workshop mark, I just change this one to B and press enter, but it's still the wrong reference. I have to make sure that the workshop is the correct total. So that's 1, column 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. So it's 11 which has got my workshop total. So just change this 17 to 11, press enter. Now I've got both done, quiz and the workshop together. You could have done all of them right at the beginning and just copy it all at once. That would, like I said, I'm going at a slower pace, though it may seem like I'm going at a much rapid pace, but it's much slower. 0, and then highlight this 0. Do not do that together. Remember, the filter will not work if you are doing it simultaneously. It has to be done individually for each column. Okay, so press delete, and then do the same for this one. Right, so delete, done, clear workshop. Now you can see automatically that the students who did not submit anything have automatically got a dash there, and the others, the coursework has automatically been calculated to 1 decimal place, which is what you want. Alright, and this 49 is automatically highlighted because this person's total coursework is 49. This 49 is automatically highlighted just to show you that the total mark should not be 49. You have to go and either increase the mark or give this person 1 or 2 marks to make that person pass. But you haven't entered the final exam mark yet, so once you enter the final exam marks, then you will see the total marks. Right, so now you enter the final exam mark. I'll just randomly enter a few marks here. Let's say this student got 56, this student got 98, and this student got 6, and just enter some marks randomly. I wish the students had actually got these marks, but unfortunately that's not the reality. But let's just try this out. This is more a realistic mark in this course for these students. Right, now what you can see is these students did not get the minimum mark of 40. That means they are not meeting the minimum mark. Alright, oh, this percentage is incorrect at the moment because it is just dividing by 2. In fact, it should be dividing by 100 times 40 so that the accurate percentage is kept. Now it's accurate. Then copy and paste. I forgot to update that formula. Right, make sure your total formula for final exam is updated if you are capturing your mark here as well. Okay, so now it's correct. So if you want to really be sure that your mark entry is correct and the formula is correct, you enter all the totals so that you get 100 here as the total. That's the best way to check. So what I'll do is I'll just enter 100 here so that the person should get 40. That means that's the maximum. So now I'm 100% sure that my formula is correct. Alright, so let's leave it at 40, 100 out of 100, and just a few marks here. And just to show, now this student did not meet the minimum. Can you see the minimum here says 16, but this person is getting 15. So either you go and remark these students to bring in their mark up to 40, or if you think like if I change this mark to let's say 33, now this is way off. Even though this person is passing here, but that person is not meeting the minimum mark. So what you can do is just click here and filter the minimums. Just click here and filter all the ones that are not meeting the minimum, which is below minimum, and then click OK, and then you try and check who are the ones who haven't got the minimum but have actually passed. So you either go and increase their final exam mark, remark their paper, not just increase it for the sake of increasing it, but actually check their paper and see whether they deserve to pass or not. Like in this case, this person I know definitely will not be passing, so I just click on this cell and change the grade to D manually. That's it. I do not have to, I have to overwrite my formula here now. I just overwrite it. So just type D there manually like that. That's all you have to do, and then clear the filter. This one I probably need to change the marks. So let's say I remarked the paper and I was lenient enough to give this person 1 mark, so I just change it to 40, and it doesn't really make any difference except it changes the total mark, and then the grade remains as it is. So you have to be very thorough. You need to learn how to use your filters and how to use the filters accurately. So that's one way of checking whether the students have met the minimum mark or not, and whether they are meeting the minimum mark. I mean, if they are not meeting the minimum mark and if they are still passing, so you need to go and filter it out and correct your grades. You should not be presenting the grade which has got a pass grade here, but the student has not met the minimum mark in the final exam. Right, for the skill base it will be slightly different. I will come to that a bit later. Right, so that's basically it. Now you just go back to the summary worksheet, and all you can see is that everything is automatically updated here. You can click on this small box here and just type your course code. So I'm typing ISP21, and this you can say semester 2, 2017. So that's done. Grade distribution. Unfortunately, there's no formula to pull this. If you have all the worksheets from the previous years in your same BOA template, then you can use the formula to pull the values here. But for the starters, you can start off by typing this manually by looking or referring to your previous submissions. Alright, so that is what you have to do. All the others will be automatically done for you. Now for this particular table, it is not up to date yet. It is still saying 1700 records, so you need to refresh. Once you finish telling everything, once your grade, everything is filled up, the marks are already done, what you need to do is click on the summary worksheet, right click on this table anywhere and just click on refresh. Now you can see this table has automatically been updated. You need to refresh this, please. So right click here, refresh. Make sure you right click on the table area and then click on refresh, so that this chart will automatically be refreshed. If you want to show the grid line, and then go to layout, and then it says grid lines, you can just show the horizontal, major and minor grid lines, so that it's more, the graph is easier to read. So that's entirely up to you. And then these comments, it's self-explanatory. You just fill it up yourself based on these titles. So you can talk about the pending scripts. If you haven't received any of the scripts, you can talk about that. You can talk about the pass rate compared to previous semesters, and then why it is gone up, why has it gone down. So you need to explain all those things. And of course, failure to meet minimum marks. Who are the students? You need to explain who are the students who did not get the get the pass grade because they did not meet the minimum. And remember, I was just explaining about this previously. Now this one you can do the breakdown. Now you might be thinking this is a bit difficult to do. No, it's not difficult at all. All you need to do is go and filter. That's why I put the filters there in the template. So I want to know how many students didn't submit my assignment on. All I have to do is go and filter the blanks now. So just filter the blanks and just highlight the data range, just highlight the column, any column, or you can just highlight the names or anything, and you can just read the count here. It says 29. So out of 90 students, 29 didn't submit. So I can go back to my summary worksheet and type here assignment 1, 29. 29 out of 90 did not submit. So it's very easy. You do not have to do much. That's all, and it's done. So you can just go and clear the filter here and do the same for the next assessment task, and just explain how many students didn't submit that particular assignment component. So there you go. Only these many students did not do attempt 19. So I just go there and update all this depending on your course components. Okay, right, and then in the class you can just explain about that. These are basic standard stuff that you need to report on, and that's basically it. Now let me go back to the grades column, and now this is for the skill based colleagues of ours, because they do not have the final exam component. I was told that they do not have the final exam component. So let's see how to update them. Say for instance, our colleagues who are teaching skill based courses, you have practicum component mostly, and you want to just import the marks in your mark sheet. So you have been keeping the marks in your, not Moodle, probably in another Excel sheet. Just copy and paste your mark sheet here, and you can go back and just watch this video again and go back to the part where I'm putting the marks using the VLOOKUP function. You just change these labels to whatever your course component says. You can insert the column like I have already shown. All you need to do is update this formula now for the total. So I do not need the coursework total. If you want, you can keep the coursework total formula. You can delete all these three, but then you need to change this one. So I do not need these three total, because my total will automatically be the final exam total. So I delete these three columns. I will see that this one is giving me an error. What I do is update this one now and make sure that this total, instead of saying coursework total, it will now just say total mark for our skill based students, and this will of course be out of 100. Just change the label, and you do not need to put any minimum there, depending if you need any minimum mark for your, it entirely depends on you. So now it depends on how many columns you need as your assessment. So if you have 6 assessment components, just go and change the label. So I'll just change the labels here, and let's say there are 6, so I'll just make 50 50 20 20 20 and then 10 10. So let's say my assessment one, I'll just say A1 slash 20%. I'll just type here. It's just so easy to do. Assessment component 2, you have to write your proper assessment names there. So if it's a presentation or a quiz or an online test or whatever, just label it there accurately. I'm sure you guys know what you're doing. So just put here, let's say another 20%, and this one here, let's say assessment 3 slash another 20%. So that's already 60%. Let's say this one has got let's say assessment component 5, but this is 10%, so that's 90%. You have to be accurate about your assessment components, and then this one is 10%, so that brings it to the total. But my total, let us check whether it is going to add to 100%. So this is out of 20. Like I said, you can go and just enter the marks, maximum marks, just to check whether your formula is correct. This is also 20, this is also 20, this is also 20, this is 10, this is 10. So there you go, it total adds up to 100. That's accurate. So all I need to do is update your formula here. All you have to do is just keep it as a dash. That means this person didn't earn anything. So just update this formula, and it says just add them up. So obviously it will add them up if you just add here 20, 20, 20, 20, 10, 10. You can see the total comes to 100. So that's accurate, nothing wrong with that. So just update that formula. Everything is the same. Now all you need to do is update this. Now what you need to do is, instead of a blank here, you can put a dash. Okay, just put a dash here and just check the correct reference. Instead of #ref, now you are looking at the total cells. So that's Q7. This is also going to be Q7. That's all you have to do. But make sure that this one here, this one here is saying dash. Only if it's a dash, I was told by one of the skill-based coordinators that for dash you guys are giving an EX grade. That means the student didn't submit anything, and that was approved by SAS as well, and that's how you guys have been submitting. So you can keep it as a dash. That means if the total is dash, that the student will be awarded an EX grade. So you can see here, if it's a dash, it will automatically be a EX grade. That means that student didn't do anything. So that is the way it is going to be. Alright, sorry, I have to remove the filter from here so that I can update my function. Alright, so there you go, all my grades are automatically up to dated. So now you can go and use the VLOOKUP function to update your marks here, or you can manually enter them. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. So you can just double click on the columns, column width over here to adjust the columns nicely, or you can just highlight the columns and adjust the column width. So for our skill based colleagues, this is what you need to do, and that's how you can update. Now when you're submitting your grades, all you have to do is hide all these. Just right click, hide, and if you want for skill based, I think the only thing you need to show in your results sheet is the total marks. So hide all this. And for the foundation and prelim courses, you need to hide the final exam row mark column and hide all the rest. All you need to keep is the ID number. Of course this number column will be there, ID, last name, first name, campus, and then after campus you will have your either the lab attendance and the tutorial attendance, and then you'll have your coursework total, and then you have the final exam, the converted one, and then you'll have the grade. So you can hide the other columns. Do not delete any other column, please, just hide them. Alright, I haven't deleted any of the columns from here. Okay, so what you need to do is go and check what exactly is it that you need, and I have already shown you if you are deleting it or increasing or inserting another column. Like for instance over here, if I want to insert another column, so what I'll do, let's say there's another component A7, so I'll right click here, insert it. So there's another component there, A7, and let's say slash 10%. Now how do I update my, this one say 10%, I will change this to let's say 10%, and this one will of course be 10, so I'll make the 10%, right? But my total is still saying 90 because it's not adding this one. So all I have to do is, it says Q7, so after P7 comma you put Q equals blank, that's it, and just add Q here, click here, plus Q7. That's all you need to do, and then it's done. Now you might see that there's one small error here. I didn't write the reference correctly, sorry about that. Sorry, 7. Now it should be okay. Alright, so that's all you have to do, and just update this formula, and this is the only one that gets updated. The grade will remain as is. So there you go, and it's done. And now if you enter the marks, so let's say you got enter 15, let's say 18.5, 9.8, 8.4, sorry. So whatever marks you enter, it will automatically be updated in your formula. So 10, and then say 9. I mean, here you have to exercise caution. You do not need to enter the marks that exceed your actual label title here. Otherwise it will exceed 100 here. So you have, if you are saying here it's out of 20%, make sure you do not enter 21 or 22 here. Otherwise you'll be messing up your totals. Alright, so make sure you are entering whatever mark you are saying that you are going to enter for that particular course component. And for the skill based people, please make sure you label this correctly. I've just for shortcut, because I'm not sure basically what are your course components. Some of you have presentations, some of you have group work, some of you have online tests, online quizzes, presentations. So you can just label them correctly, and before you submit, just remember, highlight this and just hide it, so that you are just submitting this part. And click on summary, and you can see it's updated. Right click here, and you can click on refresh, so everything is automatically updated, and the grade range is also shown over here automatically. And just change the labels. And so I think that's basically it. If you still have any questions, please feel free to just contact me, just ring me up, call me, and I'll explain it, and I'll take you through this BOA template, and just feel free to hop in. Alright, or just call me if you are not based in Lodala. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you have learned, you will definitely make use of this video. So cheers guys, thank you.